we're having some technical difficulties for some reason on the StreamYard. Broadcasting is not working out for some reason. So I wanted just to take a few minutes here in this live and address the issue here. I don't know. See who's coming on board here for just a minute. I'll just wait just a quick minute here. Not going to be here too long. No programming tonight. It'll be next Sunday. Yes, it'll be next Sunday because we're having technical difficulties. So anyhow, I'm going to take just a minute before I get off the airwaves here. Just a minute. Do want to thank those of you that are out there making some great things happen for yourself. Taking your experience very, very seriously and working on finding the solution more than anything. Yeah, it looks like I'm having some technical difficulties, unfortunately. And I will not be doing any live tonight. But we will be back here next week. We're going to do the live, looks like episode number 194. We're going to do that one live next week. Coach Jim is going to be with us. And Santos, keep doing what you are doing. I was watching some old videos this week. Right on. I will. Unfortunately, like I said, we can't do the broadcast tonight. We got a little bit of a late start, and we're having some technical difficulties. So I will just take a few minutes here, just a few minutes. Coach Jim, I'm not sure if Jim is with us here, but I'm not going to be here too long because it's kind of hard to do this on the phone. Thank you, Joshua. Joshua says, Santos, keep doing what you are doing. Well, maybe in some way I can help you. Maybe in some way I can support you in finding your solution, finding your answer. The truth of the matter is that we all have that ability within each and every one of us. We all have the ability to find the solution, to find the answer, or we can fall into the trap of just getting advice. I apologize myself because I've often given advice, and I do like to give advice, but I don't think giving advice is very, very asking the right questions, learning to ask yourself the right question. And it's really not very difficult at all. Asking yourself the real question, what is actually holding you back? What is it? And we were talking about vision. I'm not sure if Jim is on here, but we were talking about vision a little bit. And having vision is really good. Focusing on something that you want for the future. What's more important is asking yourself the question, what is it that I'm most concerned about? Asking yourself the question, what is it that you must do? What question should you be asking to find the solution so that you can begin putting some kind of a plan, some kind of a step to go forward? Because if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a solution, if you don't have a micro step forward, the likelihood is that you're going to continue to do the same thing that you're doing over and over. Theory, thinking about things is very good. Theory, but theory does not equate to taking action. The real answer that you must find for yourself is, what is it? What is it that most concerns you? Do you want to stop doing that thing? Do you really, really want to get away from that thing that you need to get away from? Are you ready to take that monster on? Do you know what the monster is? If you don't know what the monster is, if you don't know what the monster is, how will you be able to defeat it? How will you be able to take a step forward if you don't really know what the monster is? And that's what I find even in my own life, even in my own set of coaching where I've shared ideas and I gave advice. But maybe it was the wrong advice. Maybe it was good advice, but it was the wrong advice. I'd rather ask you what really is important. What really is important to you on the other side? What is the most important thing? The most important thing, whatever it may be. You may want to be taking a step forward. You might want to change your job. You might want to get rid of an addiction that is really horrible for you right now. There may be something else that you're facing. There may be something else. What is the solution here? What is the step? But again, you can't really take the step unless you identify what is that monster in your life. You have to absolutely identify it. You know, we all have many monsters. We all have many of these things going on. You must identify one. You cannot completely, effectively take on all of these monsters. So you must take on one monster, one. And that has to be, it must be defeated. But again, how you gonna defeat it if you don't have a step forward? And how you gonna have a step forward if you don't know what it is? So whatever is blocking you, whatever is in your way, whatever it is that's in your way, you must absolutely listen. If you have a coach, that can help you in this area, you're doing pretty well. If you're trying to do it by yourself, it's going to take you a lot longer. If you have a partner, somebody that truly cares about you, someone that's really willing to listen to you, pay attention. What is it that's holding you back? What is that thing? Is it a friend? Is it what is it? I don't know what it is for you, but that's what you must find. You must find the thing, the monster, the addiction. You must find your bleeding spot. Where are you bleeding? You can't stop the bleeding if you don't know where your bleeding is. So again, we had technical difficulties here for the broadcast, so we couldn't go live. I see Milsey there, Santos. Let's say it's how it is. It's sin, plain and simple. Yes, it is sin. Addiction is a sin. Amen. I appreciate the effort, Santos. Joshua, great thought right here. Hey, Jim. Good evening. I'm going to be here for just a little bit. I worked out what the specific buzz of it was that kept me hooked. Not all forms of gambling did it. Yeah, I agree with Milsey. Everything is a sin. Nevertheless, you still have to you still must find your way forward. Your way forward is not necessarily somebody else's advice, right? I'm doing my best to stay away from really giving people advice because it's really not helping you on the other side. What's going to help you is when you find your step forward. What's going to help you is when you know exactly what your monster is and you begin to take one step forward. You begin to create one blueprint. You create and you work to defeat that thing that's holding you back or holding you down. No wonder it's hard for people to break addictions. No wonder it's very difficult for people to progress, to do what it is that they really, really want to do. They just, for some reason, they don't find the solution. They don't find the step. It's all about the question that you're asking. You ask yourself the right question, you're going to find the right answer. I don't know what's happening there, but for some reason I'm going in and out. And it's probably the Wi-Fi. So I don't know if you have specific. There really isn't anything more than I can really say. The truth of the matter is that you have to figure out. Number one, you got to figure out what it is that you're up against. You have to face that monster, and you got to really know it. You got to know what it is, right? Know what it is. Okay, this is what I'm up against. Number one. Once you know what you're up against, number two, now you can say, okay, why haven't I been able to defeat this thing? You know, why haven't I been able to defeat this thing? What is it that's in my own way that I need to overcome so that I can defeat this monster that is trying to bring me down? That's the true solution right there, is finding the answer. And not just finding any answer, you have to find an answer. That's why sometimes you have to dig deep. You must find the answer that's going to trigger action, if that makes sense. You must find the solution. You must find the answer to the right question that is going to help you take action. See, if you're not taking action, it's because you haven't found the right question. You haven't found the right solution. Maybe you thought this community was your solution. If it hasn't been, there's something more that you need to be looking at. There's something a little bit different that you need to be looking at. Does this make sense tonight, folks? And I want to thank each and every one of you. Like I said, we've been having technical difficulties. In fact, even on this live broadcast here on my phone, I've been having a few issues. But nevertheless, I'm here, and I want to give you guys something to think about tonight. Jim says, so for me, I actually had 0 daytime gambling sessions in my history online. All of it was late at night and all rapid, quick hits. Yeah. It was all late at night and all rapid, quick hits. What does that say, you know, when we think that way? Jim says, so for me, I actually had 0 day time gambling sessions in my history online. All of it was late at night and all rapid, quick hits. Yeah. Jim says, I worked out what the specific buzz of it was that kept me hooked. Not all forms of gambling did it. Yeah, keep doing. So that's what matters, is if we're still doing some behavior that we don't like and we want to get away from it, it's because we haven't found that micro step. You haven't found that micro step to go forward. And it's easy to give up on yourself. It is easy. Is it easier to be punished? Is it easier to go through the regret? Why do we do things at nighttime, right? Why do we do things at night? Why do we do the quick hits? What is behind all of that? Sometimes we think we know. We may not know. And that's the reason why we're still doing what we're doing. You're not in control. January 29th was my 2-year marker since I last gambled. That's a great start there. You can keep going another year, another 6 months. Yeah. January 29th. Milsey says, I believe alcohol could be the catalyst to most compulsive urges. It could be. It could be there. I believe alcohol could be. It could be. Or it could be somebody, or it could be something else, right? Everybody's different. Everybody's different. Everybody has some kind of a catalyst. And, you know, without a plan, without a step forward, without asking yourself the right questions, it's going to be it's going to be impossible to defeat the addiction. I know I've been guilty of this, so I apologize. We believe there's a quick fix. What got us here 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, what got us here cannot be fixed with a quick fix. You must find your micro step if you truly want to overcome and break free permanently. You have to find that first step that you can get excited about. And it has to be a continuous thing. It cannot be just once or twice or 3 times. It has to become your mission. It has to become your hunger. Yeah. I stopped, relapsed spectacularly, learned more and understood it much better. Yes, there we go. Laura says, true. Yeah. So that's the reason. Either you've been coached by the wrong person, or you've had a counseling session with the wrong person, or you've been in a group or some kind of a community that is really not getting you to face your most important experience. Does that make sense? If you're not moving forward, if you feel like you're stuck, you feel like you're still bleeding, it could be very strongly that you're not getting what you truly need. But Santos, this is hard. Well, it can be. It can be what you make it. If, like I said, if we try to go at it alone, if you try to go at it alone, and if you tried to go at it alone and it hasn't worked, you know, what else can you do? What else is there? Is there another alternative? Santos, you don't know my situation. I don't know your situation. Okay, but what is your situation? Do you completely understand what your situation really is? Do you understand it? So if you understand, then you should be able to say, okay, well, I failed because of this. I did it for 3 weeks, but I failed because of this. Or hey, you know what? I've been doing really good for 6 months, but then I failed because of this one thing. Okay. So now you're able to identify what caused you to trip for the 3rd time. So you found what caused you to trip for the 3rd time. Now you can at least begin pinpointing, right? Does that make sense? Am I making sense to somebody here? Once you've identified, you know, what tripped you 3 times. Okay. So what are your options then? What are your options then at that point? You should have more than one option. Because if you depend on one option, it didn't work the last time. Right? That's why you got tripped up 3 times. So this time you are going to look at one of those traps that cause you to trip. And that's where you're going to begin to work. That's going to be your micro step forward. That's what I have to defeat. That's what I must overcome and plan against. Does this make sense to you, to help you find yourself? This is simple, isn't it? It just, well, Santos is just asking yourself the right questions and then putting the solution together and then taking action, right? Yeah, it's that simple. Why isn't it working if it's that simple? Why? Or better yet, what can make it work? What can make it work for you? Let me see here. I'm not sure if Jim is with us tonight, but hey there, Jim. I've got about another 9-10 minutes. I'm going to be here because I couldn't do the live for some reason on the screen. I was having some technical difficulties. But Jim has some good thoughts. We'll probably end up looking at them a little bit more. The Rock from Brockton. So most likely next week. This is supposed to be episode 140. The Super Bowl, an extra large bowl of cereal. Jim, you learned what was triggering you and pivoted. Excellent. The Rock from Brockton. Hey, Mark. Good to see you, Jim. Jim, I couldn't, Coach Jim, I'm just stuck in cyber world. I couldn't get the system to work, so we're just going to be here for a little bit. John Mark, where's Coach Jim? Oh, Coach Jim is in here. He's in the chat. We don't have a full live session tonight because of some technical difficulty. So I just wanted to leave some thoughts with you guys. We'll have, next week, we'll have episode number 194. And we'll talk about, Jim has some great ideas. He's got a good outline. We'll be able to discuss some of that. But as I get ready to leave, we've got about another 5 to 7 minutes here. What I want you to think about on the other side, what I truly want you to think about is not everybody else's advice, right? I don't want you to think about my advice. I don't want you to think about my opinion. I don't want you to think about anybody else's opinion. What I want to leave you with tonight as we start this week is what is important for you. You know, what truly is the most important subject for you on the other side right now? More than anything else, what is that important subject for you on the other side that must be explored, must be investigated, or else you're going to stay in the same place that you're in? You want to prevent the gambling addiction. You want to break that cycle of behavior. Or maybe it's another addiction that you have that you want to get rid of it. You're just tired of it. You don't like it in your life. You want it away. Or it could be something that you want to develop. You want to make more money. You want to generate more income. Your job where you're at, like you're addicted to your job and you need to get away from it. You may have the opportunity to move on into something better, but you're not taking that risk. So you're staying right there where you're comfortable, where you're comfortable. You're not, there's no real fear there, but there's no real blessing for you either. You don't feel you're comfortable there, but you really don't want to be there. What is it? Never mind what is it that you must do? What is it that you must start doing? What's the first step? the very first step that you must be taking to go forward? Do you know what that step is? Can you figure it out? Do you have a partner? Do you have somebody that can, on a professional, sensitive, uh, transformational level, can help you, sit beside you, and figure this out, right? Jim, David, Laura, Mark, okay, what is it? It's not about, oh, okay, I see what it is. Here's my answer to you. Here's my advice to you. No, none of that. None of that. What is it that you're serious about? What's important to you? Where's the solution there? Where is the solution there? How do you find it? How do you get there? It must be an action taker. You must come to a conclusion that's going to cause you to take action. If you haven't found that answer, that solution, then you haven't found it yet. You have to keep digging, right? Keep searching, like drilling for oil, like digging for gold, or looking for rough diamonds in the rough, right? You don't just go there once, twice. You keep going. You keep going and you dig deeper. Well, Santos, I've already tried it. We'll try it a different way. What's a different alternative for you to find what you need? Right? Who do you need to talk to? Who do you need to associate with? What is it that you need to be listening to? I don't know what it is. You do. You know what it is. Once you get that down, once you start creating a blueprint, that's going to give you clarity. Correct? It's going to give you something to look at. Okay, man, I see this little tiny step. It's a little tiny step, but nevertheless, I see that by taking that step, it's going to get me over here. It's going to get me to point B. And then once I'm there, I can figure out what would be the next step. I hope I'm making sense to somebody. One day at a time, for real. 10 stacks. Mike Sales. All right. For me, it's a gradual growing process, but I do enjoy journaling. We go back to work tomorrow, casino after casino all over. Yes, so you got to ask yourself the question, what do you, what is the meta? What is the goal? What is the goal? It's weird. Sometimes you think, okay, I know what this person needs. I know what this other person needs. I know what this other person needs to hear. I know the opinions that this person, bullshit. You don't know nothing about me, Santos. Santos, last week you were talking about this and the other thing was great motivation, but it wasn't really for me. It really didn't hit the spot, Santos. See, that's why I know. You on the other side, you need guidance. You need specific guidance in questioning yourself and looking for that micro step, that thing that's going to cause you to really take action to be able to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. Most people fail. They fail coaching, they fail books, they fail programs, they fail high schools, they fail colleges, they fail relationships, they fail marriages, they fail businesses. Why is it? Because they're not listening to the right voice. They're not functioning on the right answer. Right? You're functioning on somebody else's opinion. Hey, what do you think about this? Well, hey, you know what? I'd like to get your advice. There's nothing wrong with that. If you truly want it, right? You're asking, hey, I need your specific advice. But I would question that. What is it about my advice? I mean, what about your own advice? Let's work together, right? Let's see if we can come up with the best question to figure out what your best advice is. Because your best advice is going to come from you. It's not going to come from me. It's not going to come from Coach Jim or Coach Cephas or Coach David or Coach Travis. It's not. It's going to come from you. The thing about having a good coach or a good counselor is that they'll help they'll work with you so that you can stay focused in that area that needs to be worked on, right? Let's not work on 15 other areas. Well, Santos, I got 15 other areas that are totally dragging me down. I understand. But which one of those 15 is the most important one right now? Which one is the most important? Let's tackle that one. Let's bring that one and see what we can do to find the solution there. Make sense? Man, it started to make sense to me. All right, folks. I am going to get ready for tomorrow. We've been here 31 minutes. I apologize for the inconvenience, but I do want to thank each and every one of you guys. And once again, I truly hope that you're taking notes and not for me. I take my own notes and I write and I journal every single day. So I'm not doing that for anybody else. I'm doing it for myself, right? To help myself so that I can be a better human being. But for you, you have to ask yourself and you have to figure out, what are the things that you must do? What are they? What are the experiences? What are the practices? What are the questions that you should be asking yourself? All right. With that said, I'm going to I want to thank Laura. Thank you, Laura. The Rock from Brockton. Jim says awareness is big. We must have awareness. Exactly. Thank you for being here, Jim. Jim West. Just keep going, Laura. He says 10 stacks. Mike Sales says, I'm learning to talk to myself through the process. Good job. Me too. Me too. Just because I'm a little bit ahead of a few people doesn't mean that, I've caused collateral damage in my own life. And I know I'm learning more and more that if I don't ask myself the right questions, I don't get the right answers. And, it's a lifetime thing. It's a lifetime practice. Santos, how do you practice, right? You practice, you journal, you do what you got to do. That's what I know what to do. You have to learn to do what you must do in order to get what it is that you must get. And you have to at least have an idea of what it is that you are up against, what you're up against, in order to ask yourself the right questions. All right, The Rock. Let me see, 10 stacks, The Rock, Jim, Laura, Milsey, thank you for hanging out. All of you guys tonight on a Sunday. We're going to have a episode 194 next week. Mark Swihart says, hi there. Who else? John Mark. So much gambling going on tonight, Santos, with the Super Bowl. So many losers. People, it's sick mental disease. It is John Mark. It's a very sinful, dark disease, and it's hurting a lot of people. Some people are just giving up on themselves because they don't know what else to do. They haven't found the right connection, or they haven't found the right answer, the right step, the right micro step to go forward. And that means that you must spend more time digging deeper. That's what that means. If you're still stuck, you're still bleeding, you keep putting a Band-Aid on it, but yet it's still bleeding. People are starting to see the blood. There's a trail. What do you do? What do you do, Santos, man? What I tell you to do is start searching, start asking. What truly is important to you? What is on your mind? What's bothering you? And begin to tackle that thing right there where it's at. All right, that's all I have to say tonight. Thank you for hanging out. I truly appreciate each and every one of you guys. Keep going forward. Keep going forward and look for the support that is supporting you. Look for that support. Don't trust in that support. Don't depend on it as a crutch, but let it be a guide. Let it be a source for you to be able to get something that will help remind you of what your true quest really is. And that's not people's advice. Your true quest is not people's advice. It's not people's opinions. It's the solution that you hold inside yourself that you haven't been able to cash in on. It's time. Like Jim says, it's time. All right, Purify, thank you. Thank you for hanging out. Valentine's Day to all, Laura. Okay, guys, I will see you on my next one at the top on the inside. And what can I leave you with before you go to bed tonight? Think about what's really important to you. What is real, what is true, what you would love to see the answer come to or find. All right, guys. Until my next one, peace through strength.